Welcome to Awakening Souls,
a spiritual podcast for the mystics, magical thinkers, sensitives, and spiritual seekers.
We are here to explore all things spiritual, from navigating your awakening, developing your psychic gifts, and so much more.
Together, with our combined experiences, we hope to help guide you on your path to reconnecting with your soul and the beautiful life that comes after.
So come join us on the magical journey of exploring your
Awakening Souls.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Awakening Souls podcast. Candace here with Jennifer, Rose, and Ashley. Welcome back, y'all.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah. All right. So last week we did an episode on flower essence and the power of flowers. And since then, we've all kind of had, or some of us have had a discovery of how this has really been working out for us. So yeah. Who wants to go first?
Rose, I heard you have something to say about it.
No, not that I can remember.
I thought you said Rose had something to share about it.
Yeah. No, about the it's like Dill and Akashic Records, remember? You said to do it?
Oh, gosh, that's right. Okay, hold on. Let me bring it up on my phone.
Okay, while you're doing that, yesterday we had an event where we were card reading at a really cute plant store. And I was getting there just as Jennifer was leaving, and Jennifer said something to me on her way out the door. And I think I just like jaw dropped, like didn't respond because I was so shocked by what she said. So I have to have her, you have to tell this story.
Okay, so last Saturday, I ordered the Have Confidence and Face Your Fears. I finally was like, I just need to order it. Okay, so on my way to the event, I took it and just driving along, and I'm feeling really good. And I see an airplane like fly by, and it was one of those airplanes that drop skydivers. And instantly I'm like, I think I want to jump out of an airplane. I would love that. And I actually envisioned myself flying with someone strapped to my back, because no way am I going to do that alone. And I'm, flying, and I'm feeling really great. And then I thought, I wonder if the sanctuary ladies would want to do this with me. And as soon as that thought came in my head, another thought popped in and said, wait a minute, you're afraid to fly. And all of a sudden a fear just came into my body. Like, it was just like, I don't know. It was like an explosion of fear. It was so wild. And I was like, why? How did that happen? Like, how did I even forget that I don't like heights, don't like to fly, do not like to be in airplanes? That was just amazing to me. So I think it does work. I think it works a little bit.
So then what happened after you realized you were afraid?
I took more. As soon as I got to the event, I'm like, yeah.
And then you did conquer another fear at the event, which you don't have to talk about if you don't want to, but I'm so impressed. That's amazing.
Yeah, I took it because I have a fear of reading cards for people. And so that's why I took it. And I did four card readings. So I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah. It's such an accomplishment.
Yes, thank you. Did you find your story?
I did find the information. So yeah, I was reading this book like the day that we recorded the podcast, but after we had recorded it, and it was on flower essences. And the book is on the Akashic Records. And one of the things it's talking about is that how past lives can impact us. And those past lives are recorded in the Akashic Records. And it recommended that if you're having trouble getting over something from a past life, that you could use flower essences to alleviate that problem and to help you conquer that. And so they had 4 different recommendations. They said comfrey, the flower essence, repairs soul damage from past lives.
Wait, which one is this?
Comfrey. So it would be the flowers of comfrey made into a flower essence. And that, I love that, repairs soul damage from past lives. So like you wouldn't even have to know what the damage was. You could just take
Instead of
that,
taking that flower essence.
right? let's clear the books and let's repair the damage.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
I thought that was really powerful. And
I
then,
need a
You know
couple
what?
bottles.
right?
You know what that makes me think of, actually? We've been talking a lot lately about kids remembering their past lives, and these kids are only like 4, something
Yeah.
like that. And so that would be a nice solution for a kiddo who's recalling some nightmarish things, and that maybe they're just recalling past life info. And while a 4-year-old's not going to do a past life regression, they could take a flower essence.
Yeah.
Right.
Very easy solution.
Yeah.
Do you think we've been talking a lot too? Sorry, Rose. We've been talking a
That's
lot too about cutting cords from the past.
Mhm.
And you would have a cord tie, an energetic cord tie between you and this life and a past life. So do you think that would also sever the tie, or do you think it's just helping you overcome whatever battle you're having in this past life? This is all speculation.
I don't think it would cut the tie at all.
Because if it didn't cut the tie, wouldn't you still have that problem?
Moving forward.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
Mhm.
when I asked,
Oh,
go ahead, Ashley.
No, you go.
I was going to say, when I just intuitively ask Spirit that question right now, what I see a visualization of the cord between your current life and the past life that's causing you a problem. And every time you're taking a drop or two of that flower essence, that cord begins to dissolve and disintegrate. So it's like it's
Okay.
slowly
Like a
clearing.
slow.
It's not like a quick chop that you would do if you did it intentionally with a cord cutting, but that's the image that they're giving me right now, that it would slowly work to dissolve that cord.
Mhm.
I like that. That could be
Yeah.
so helpful.
Oh gosh, yeah.
All right. And then the next one was dill. And I loved this one too. It releases victimization.
Mm.
And I just feel like that would be really powerful for past life work, but also regular life work too, because it's really easy to get into that victim mode.
Mhm.
The other two they had were okra, to restore the ability to see positive in one's life and environment.
Need that.
What's that?
For someone.
Okra?
Okra, yeah. And then sweet bell pepper restores inner peace and clarity. So those were just the 4 that they recommended, but I think that first one, to repair the soul damage, is really the most powerful.
Yeah.
Did you happen to buy those?
No, I haven't even looked for them. So, though they do have a website in the book of a company, um, Perlandra, PERELANDRA.com, that you can go to find them.
Okay.
So that's worth checking out if you're interested in those.
Yeah, we could put a link in the show notes too.
Yep.
That's so cool. Fun.
Yeah.
So speaking of victimization, I think that's a really good segue into talking about empaths, which is our topic for today, being an empath. And I think that I actually have so many questions about this myself. So I don't know if, with this conversation, some of those questions will be answered. But I think a lot of us here identify as being an empath. And I think a lot of people who are drawn to the sanctuary or who even drawn to this Awakening Souls podcast are probably empaths. So I looked up the definition of empaths because in my mind, I've never known anything but being an empath. And when I finally found out I was an empath, when it just all made sense, it all clicked for me. And I really, in my mind, I'm like, everybody's an empath.
Mhm.
That's how I think. I'm like, how
That's
could
how
you
I
not
think.
feel what other people are feeling?
Yeah.
So I looked at the definition and I got 2 different definitions. I got one from Oxford Dictionary, and their definition was a person with the paranormal ability to apprehend the mental or emotional state of another individual.
Paranormal.
They'd say it's paranormal.
Interesting.
Why is that interesting to you?
because it's not paranormal.
It's pretty
Well,
normal.
It is very normal.
Yeah, I guess, but not everybody feels it.
I think not everybody lets themselves feel it. I think a lot of people just block it. I don't know. I don't know.
I was reading that there are different levels of empathy, and we can get more into the science about this later, but that it depends on the level of empathy that you have or how sensitive your what they call mirror receptors are.
Okay.
That determines how empathic you are. Okay. So then the second definition was Webster's definition. Empaths are individuals who are extremely perceptive of the feelings and emotions of people around them, which typically comes through some intuitive abilities. But sometimes empaths face many challenges, like setting boundaries between them and others. And there's a lot of pros and cons of being an empath, but a lot of common traits as well is what they talked about. So,
did you guys know how many empaths, like how many different kind of empaths there are?
I didn't.
I was kind of floored with how many I saw. Did you guys look into it at all?
I've
Do
seen
you guys
it
know?
before, but I like could name maybe 3 off the top of my head. So I'm excited to hear the ones you found, because I bet you have found ones that I've not heard of.
Yeah, I found one that kind of floored me. And I didn't really do any research on it because it was out there, you know, it was a different one. But like some of the ones I found was emotional empath. I just thought it was you're an empath. That's it.
Yeah, period.
Yeah, period. So there's emotional empath, intuitive empath, plant empath, animal empath, physical empath. Am I missing any?
I read that there was like 14 different empaths, and when I saw the number 14, I was like,
no, there can't be 14. I got dark empath,
Yes.
super empath, dream empath, and then the one that I didn't really get into was Heyoka empath.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Have you heard of it?
Did
Heyoka?
you say a dark empath?
Dark
Mhm.
empath.
What's that?
It's a person who has empathy but chooses to use it in a way that meets their goal.
Narcissist.
Yeah,
exactly.
a narcissist.
I was reading it was narcissists and psychopaths have the ability for empathy, but they use it in a different way. They use it for manipulation and getting to know and read you so that they can use what they've gathered to manipulate you.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
That took a dark turn.
So out of all of those, which one do you guys think that you are out of all those?
Do you want to do? Oh, go ahead.
What is that last one you said that began with an H? I don't know the definition of that one.
The Heyoka empath, a person who lives and views their life unconventionally. It originated from Native American Sioux tribe, I think is what I read, or what I wrote down.
Okay, thanks.
Do you want to do like that? Do you have quick little like definitions of each of them?
Mhm.
Yeah, do you want to run through those?
Sure. So an emotional empath, compassionate, aware of other people's moods, sensitive, because they're so because they're so in tune to others' feelings, they can absorb their mental state. So, the intuitive empath, a person with high levels of intuitive empathy. They can sense people's energy and emotions without that person even speaking. A plant empath, you just basically know what your plant needs. You know when it needs water, you know when it needs food, you know how to take care of it, transplant it, do whatever you need to do with it. Ashley.
I love my plants. There's one right here. Do you want to see it? Hold on. Look at it.
Oh, yes. Animal empath, which you say you're not, but I really think you are. Just connecting with your animals, knowing what they're feeling. I know you know. I know you feel it. You say you don't, but I know you do.
Yeah, I think this surprised Rose too, is taking a quiz on like what my strongest psychic abilities were. And one of the questions was, oh, you just know what your animal needs and what they're feeling just by looking at them. And I was like, no, I have no idea.
I think you do, because it's just energy. It's the same energy that's put off by people.
Here's what I think, and we can go back to your definitions, but I think that in a lot of cases, empathy is learned. Being an empath is learned. And I've learned to be an empath through the trauma I experienced as a child out of survival.
Mhm.
And that could be a trigger for someone who is an empath, is to have trauma or abuse in their life or neglect, which I had all. So with people, I've got really damn good at knowing and anticipating what people's needs were, so that I could protect myself. But I didn't have to ever protect myself from the animals. So there was no need for that.
I think you have it. I don't know. The physical empath is to feel the physical condition of another person, feel the other person's pain. Do you guys have that?
Yes.
I do not.
Oh, you don't have that?
No, I cannot.
Too.
But why are you all thinking I'm so empathic? No, I consider myself only an emotional empath. When it comes to physical pain, I cannot feel your physical pain.
You're lucky.
You can't?
No.
I feel like you're constantly saying like, oh,
I can feel emotions through certain parts of my body. Would that count?
Oh,
But I can't feel like if someone's knee hurts, my knee doesn't hurt.
Well,
Okay.
no, I don't necessarily feel it in my knee. I just feel like sometimes I will feel it in like my sacral or in my solar plexus or somewhere in that area.
Okay.
And it like almost like a dread feeling. Like I remember when my son opened up a door and it scraped the top of his toe and pulled his toenail off.
oh,
Yeah. I could feel that in my body, not just in my toe.
yeah. I
So
hate
yeah,
that
I'm
feeling.
sure you guys just all felt that. You felt it.
We apologize to our listeners.
Okay, and then sorry, I know you have something to say. What?
No, I just wanted to say, I think it's so funny that like, as we were saying that Candace is like, I'm not an animal empath when we hopped up Rose's cat right by Rose. Like, I feel like that's the sign. Like, she's like, you are.
You are. You just don't know it.
Could it be too that it's so natural
Yes.
that I just am unaware of putting a definition behind it?
Mhm.
Well,
Yes.
and I will say with animals, especially, well, no, I feel like this with people too, kind of, but it's definitely stronger with animals. It is the hardest to clearly connect with your own pets. Like you're so energetically intertwined with your own animals that it's sometimes very difficult to understand what's coming from them and what's coming from you and what they're trying to say that's different from the norm, if that makes sense. Like if I connect with Pippa, sometimes I won't pick up like something that's wrong with her or something that she needs or something that she wants to say. Whereas if I connect with our neighbor's dog, who I don't know, I can literally rattle off 100 things that he wants to tell their owners. So, yes,
true.
it's different. It's different.
That is true. I actually did a card reading for a dog that came into the sanctuary on Saturday. I asked the ladies who brought him in if they wanted a card reading, and they're like, no, but I'd love one for the dog. I need to know if the dog likes his name. And then, I was able to rattle off a ton of things that were helpful to them. So possibly, I guess maybe I am.
Now
Yes,
everyone's
don't believe
curious.
his name.
Everyone's curious. Did the dog like his name?
He didn't. He did not. No. And I actually, physical, maybe empath, I felt it in my gut when she said his name. I was like, oh, I hate that. Like it made me contract. Like my whole body went, ugh. No, he had a lot of abuse from his previous owners, and it was verbal abuse, and his name was always involved. So he had just negative associations with his name. Yeah.
Did he give you suggestions on what he wants it to be?
I didn't ask, but it felt like it was more of needs to have that energy shift, like he's brand new to this, to this woman who brought him in. So I feel like it's just going to take time to associate his name with love rather than hate.
Wait, was it the dog I saw?
You weren't with me. It was me and Alicia.
I know, I popped in. You didn't see me. I was there.
The dog that was inside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
The little border or the Aussie?
soft. Yeah. Oh, he was so sweet.
Yeah.
I petted him for like 5 minutes and you were like, I could not get your attention to say hi for anything.
What are you doing? You were invisible.
I just had to grab my iPad. And Alicia was standing there and I said hi. And then you were so like focused on your card reading. And I was just like, I wanted to pet the dog so bad. So I was like, hi, come here, dog. And then the dog like came over and I was petting him and you were just going.
That is funny. No, never saw you. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Moving on.
So the last one I have is the dream empaths. You're skilled at lucid dreaming.
No, that's you.
I'm not skilled, but I do lucid dream.
I feel like it's a skill.
And you're naturally gifted at interpreting dreams, and I think I'm pretty good at that too. But I think reading through all these, I'm definitely an emotional, intuitive, plant, animal, physical, and dream empath.
You mentioned a super empath. What's that?
A super empath. I didn't write it all down. I didn't write anything down for that. I just feel like it's these are just questions. I just feel like it's all of the empathic things wrapped up into one. Yeah. That's what I think it is. But I should have done the research. Sorry.
No, that's good.
I did listen to a lot of YouTube videos and things on podcasts.
I would say some of those, like as an unaware empath, I think those are all really hard to navigate because like you just are feeling so much. And you not only do you feel, and I think this is where empaths get stuck. Not only are you feeling the sadness or the bad or the pain, you're also feeling everyone else's success and happiness. And so a lot of empaths that don't know that they're empaths, they will become like the caretakers, because if they can get everyone else around them to feel happy and feel safe and supported, then they can finally feel those things. And so I think that's where empaths get stuck in this cycle of not taking care of themselves because everything is outside of them. Everything has become external. They don't know what they're feeling or who they even are sometimes, because they just know and they've learned that if I make everyone else feel better, I feel better. And that's where being an unaware empath can be almost dangerous.
Very. Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people in relationships that will say like, I'm fine until my significant other gets home. And then suddenly I'm not fine anymore. And I can feel everything that they're feeling. So I think that relationships can develop a certain intuitive ability to be empathic for one another. And we do tend to anticipate the feelings and emotions of our significant other when they come home. And I don't know if maybe that's a natural gift that we're all given because it helps us be more compassionate with our significant others, or if it's just something we've kind of learned to tune into for safety and protection. Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both, probably.
Yeah. So yeah, empaths end up being a lot of the peacekeepers, and their ability to set boundaries is always a challenge. If you don't know that you're an empath, you probably don't have boundaries, and boundaries are the number one thing, in my opinion, that you need as an empath to protect yourself or to navigate this ability.
Yeah, you're probably unaware of what boundaries you need to set.
Yes, because there are no boundaries.
Right.
And if you don't know yourself, you don't know what your limits are. You don't know what you need to be safe. You only know what other people need.
Yes.
I'm sorry if it sounds like there's a seagull in here.
Can hear it.
Pippa has a toy that makes noise and she keeps turning it up.
Aw.
Hmm.
So as an empath, do you guys feel like you attract certain kind of people?
As a healthy empath or an unhealthy empath?
Either. Well,
Yes.
I would say unhealthy because I can remember, well, maybe not unaware. I can remember being an unaware empath, and I was just kind of attracting all these broken people who would like just unload on me. And yeah, I had to break away from those people. How about you guys? Have you ever had that where?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gosh, before I knew I was an empath, and even after I found out what an empath was, I was still attracting a lot of negative relationships. It was the people, because I wanted to be a people pleaser.
Right, you want to
My
help.
job was I need to fix people.
Right. And
I need to
they feel it. They know it. And they're just zoning in on you because they can feel that.
Yes. And then I feel that weight on my shoulders, that it's my responsibility to help fix you, to help solve your problems, to make everything better. It all relies on me. Because if I'm the one to fix the problem, whether we're in a friendship, whether we're in a like a professional relationship or not, for some reason, that is my self-esteem, was my self-esteem. That if I didn't help them fix the problem, or I didn't help them get better in some sort of way, that it all landed on me and that I was a failure. And I did it in my own relationship. And I recently broke that bond, and it was like a codependency thing. Like, if I don't help my husband with, any healing that he needs, or any of his physical or mental or emotional needs, then I'm not safe. And if I'm not safe, then I can't live the life that I want to live, because I need my husband to be healthy and safe for me to be healthy and safe. Am I making sense? It's a codependency thing I do.
Yeah, I have a theory on that as well.
Ooh, give it.
Okay, I will. I feel like empaths can really sense the God spark in other people. And when we come in contact with somebody that may be broken, or, in a negative place, or having challenges, we can see their potential. We can see the beauty that is their soul. We can feel all the things that they can be and accomplish, because we recognize that in them. So then, at least this has been my pattern, is I fall into the trap of, if I just love them enough and help them enough, then they can get to their full potential, because I can feel it in them. Of course, the problem with that is it's not my responsibility to do their healing work for them. I can be a loving support, but I can't do it for them. So I feel like empaths are sensing the challenges, but they also sense that beautiful divine soul that everybody is.
Yeah. And then I think you get the separation between the unaware empath, who's maybe attracting more of that, and then the aware empath, who knows it is not my responsibility to heal somebody else. It is my responsibility possibly to hold space for them to heal, maybe to give guidance when asked for it, but to separate your journey from their journey and allow them to go along their own path, whichever way that ends up looking for them, without taking responsibility for it yourself.
Yeah. See, that's where I took the opposite end of the spectrum. So I was never the person who was like taking people in, trying to fix them. I was the empath, even before I knew I was an empath. I was the one sensing that I knew it wasn't my job. I couldn't fix people. It was their job to fix or heal if they wanted to. And I would sense that others were like unhealthy for me. And so I would just, as a boundary, block everybody out, like everybody, the good and the bad, because I didn't know how to do anything else. And now it's taken me a long time to understand that people are human. So everybody has, a myriad of different things within them. And that I can let people into my life in a safe way, even, this is honestly so hard to like describe. It's so confusing. I feel like I would, for a long time, I would sense one unhealthy thing in someone, and I would just put up an extreme boundary. And so that left me very lonely. However, I enjoy my alone time, so I didn't think it was a bad thing. But it's taken me a long time to be able to distinguish between someone that is actually unhealthy and someone who's a human being with just, does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't know how to explain it, but long story short, I think it can go the other direction. I think you can, or at least I became someone who shut everybody out as a safety precaution.
I was doing that too. Yeah.
So it all comes back to safety in some way or another.
Mm-hmm.
My safety depended on other people. My survival depended on other people. You were independent enough and I feel like self-assured enough that it was not safe for you to let people in. It was safer for you to be alone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I realized that too. I just needed to, I had this one friend who it was always all about her. She was never interested in me at all. And she was always broken and I was always trying to help her. And finally I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I just feel drained. I cannot do this anymore. And I just cut it off. I had 2 friends I did that with in my adult life. I'm like, why do I keep attracting these people who all they care about is themselves and they care nothing about me? So,
There's so many reasons.
well, now,
No, I mean, we attract what we need mirrored to us so that the world can show us. People are our mirrors. So the world can show us where we need healing or where we need to set boundaries.
mm-hmm.
And as empathic people, we want to help, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like Ashley.
Not my problem. Not.
We desire to help and to be there for the person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to get to a point where you're like, wait a minute, why isn't it never about me anymore? Why am I like ignoring my own needs, my own values, my own desires, so I can keep helping people and I feel drained and I'm not getting anything from it. There's no give and take in this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to get to that point where you're like, okay, time for boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes boundaries means cutting the energy
Extreme
vampires
boundaries
out of your life. And sometimes it just means cutting negative cords of attachment with relationships and only leaving the good stuff, but detaching from the negative stuff.
Well, I know that now.
Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are making complete sense. So something that I did a little research on was empath rage, which is a thing that can happen to empaths, especially I feel like unaware empaths. It's like there's this anger, and I did a channel yesterday and talked to Spirit to find out information about that.
Oh, good.
So it was interesting. Um, and they talked about, I thought this was really interesting. They talked about empaths like moving through their world. And part of what they pick up on is emotions from other people. So they're going to tune in and almost absorb like a sponge emotions from people around them. And that wasn't a surprise. But the other thing Spirit mentioned is that if somebody has an intense emotion, it's almost like they leave an energetic imprint floating in the ether. And as empaths are moving through the world, they almost like walk through this cloud of negativity and they pick it up that way as well.
Mhm.
Oh God.
So I know that's
It's
why I
everywhere.
know. So I thought that was really interesting. And the vision that they gave me is they showed me like an empath's body as like a sieve. It's like empaths are very open and they have lots of these open pores, and emotions are really supposed to just pass through. They're not supposed to get stuck. But the lower vibrations are dense and yucky, and they tend to get stuck in the empath and kind of clog up their filters. And if it goes on long enough, the empath just gets bogged down and really, really drained, which I'm sure we can all relate to because we've all been there. And so when you talk about the rage, they're like, there's a couple of different things going on. The first thing is the empath is frustrated that they're all bogged down with the stuff that isn't theirs, and they have to do the work of clearing it if they want to feel light and good and normal. And so it's like they've got this extra work they have to do just to maintain equilibrium that others may not have to do. They are angry that other people aren't taking care of their business and polluting the world with their negativity. So it's like, you're not healing this and you just keep spewing this negativity, and I keep having to walk through it, and it's making my life more difficult. So I thought that was really interesting. Um, and also, empaths are required, at least where we're at in the planet right now, to have boundaries. But part of having boundaries means you're not fully open. And so that's like empaths are pissed off that they have to have these boundaries and they have to keep themselves somewhat protected to survive and to be functioning and to be happy, but they can't be their 100% authentic self all the time because the world just doesn't support that right now. And so that was kind of some different reasons why empaths are going to can have this anger. And I know myself personally, I used to be angry like all the time. And I'm much better now, but it still comes up, especially when I get tired and I get a little bit too busy. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. I realized recently, like, I've gone obviously to the gym for years, and I never connected the dots until honestly, like a couple months ago. But every single time I would go to the gym, I would walk through the door, get on the treadmill, and I would just feel like I wanted to cry. And it was so annoying because I was like, do I not want to be here? Like, am I not like happy with the people that I'm surrounded by? Like, what is this? Why do I just want to cry every time I'm here? And I finally realized, which I know that this is a thing, but I don't know. I just never put two and two together. I realized that what do you do at the gym? You work out, you're moving your body, you're moving energy through you, and people are dumping and dumping and dumping their emotions. And so I'm going into a space that's never energetically cleaned. And as soon as I open that door and walk through all the stuff people have dumped, it dumps into me. And then I'm feeling things that are not mine. And I'm confused and I'm questioning if I'm okay, but it's not me. It's not me. But yes, yeah, that's what that is.
That is so interesting.
So I said to the trainers, I said, when you guys like vacuum at night, can you just walk around with the sage stick? And they were like, what? I'm like, no, you like you have to energetically clean in here. And they're like, okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay, so when we're intuitively connecting with someone, we're using our empathy to connect with them. We're using our empathic ability to feel the emotions that need to be let go to help them release them. I have noticed when I'm doing this, whether I'm in a session or not in a session, if I'm picking up intuitively emotions that somebody needs to let go of, I will think that it's my emotion until I recognize that it is not my emotion. And I either verbally say it out loud or I admit it to myself that what I'm holding on to is not mine. And it's almost like that recognition will kind of let that emotion pass through me and it will dissipate. I wonder, and this is just a theory, like when I'm doing sessions with people, I will keep getting the same repeated thing over and over again until I recognize it. So I wonder almost if it's like the world is saying, recognize this emotion, recognize what this is, so you can let it go. Because maybe there's a need for you to recognize it. I'm just spitting theories here. I don't know. And I do find that the moment, and I tell my clients this, when you recognize that emotion or that thing is not actually yours, it's not connected to you, you're picking it up, they're like, oh my God, the weight that has been lifted off of my shoulders. I feel so much better. I can breathe just by having that awareness.
Mm-hmm. So did we already discuss this? What are some challenges you guys face being an empath?
For me, I think my strongest challenge growing up was because I'm a physical empath. I'm physically feeling what people are feeling, along with emotionally, which can sometimes be a little bit confusing. So like I would go into places that I was drawn to because I do want to help people. So like hospitals, like volunteering at hospitals, or like when you're little, like for school, they're always taking you to nursing homes. Just all these places where people are more likely to have a physical ailment. And I would get inside of these places and I would feel so uncomfortable. And I would experience like stomach aches or my head hurting or my knees hurting or my joints hurting and or like little pains in like my liver or and so that was always so weird to me. And on some level, I feel like I always knew that it wasn't mine because it would come and go so quickly and it didn't seem attached to me. So it didn't freak me out. It didn't make me feel like something was physically wrong with me, but I would always get annoyed that I would get so uncomfortable in certain situations and nobody else seemed uncomfortable. Like I would want to just kind of like cripple it, fall on the floor and be like, want to kind of throw up and just be on just so uncomfortable and everybody else was just like la la la, like we're having a great day, and I was like, how do you not feel like you want to throw up right now? So that was a challenge for me.
Yeah, I get this where when I'm in a crowded room, I all of a sudden just get overwhelmed and I just feel like this need to run and just get out and run away. You guys ever get that? Just so much energy.
Well, yeah, could that be if you're in a crowded room and you're an empath and you're a super empath, like you have all of these different abilities to pick up physically, emotionally, blah, 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 then you're picking up everybody's stuff when you walk into a room. And that would be like stimulation overload. I'd want to run too.
That's exactly what happened to me last night. We went out, got a little ice cream. As soon as we walked into the place, I just feel like I'm open up a little bit more. Like I just feel like I'm more in tune now. And so I felt like everything was coming in. And that's when I was like, I gotta go, I gotta run, I just gotta get out of here.
Do you feel like because you're more open intuitively that it's harder for you to shut down to protect yourself and to get through the day?
Yes, because I don't think that. I don't even think of that. I just feel overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't think when I'm overwhelmed.
I will say that now I kind of view what I'm picking up with extra senses as just a continuation of a conversation. Like, for example, we all talk, and can words hurt? Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But we all use them. We all use words. Well, most use words. And I just know that it's the same with other senses as well. They're not hurting you. They're just a part of a conversation. The only time they linger and won't go away is when somebody's using them manipulatively. I don't even know if that's a word. I'm going to pretend it's a word. So like we were talking about the dark empaths. So for example, normally if somebody has a stomach ache or they're holding a lot of emotion in their solar plexus, I will feel it when I'm with them. And then if I disconnect or I step out the door, it drops off because they're not using it to hurt me. They're just telling me. But if somebody is pulling my energy or they have attached and they are trying to energetically manipulate me, then it will not go away. And that's where it's like the difference between somebody just using their words for conversation and somebody using their words to hurt you. It's the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great example.
Mm-hmm.
So then what do you do if the energy or the emotions are meant to hurt you then? How do you disconnect from those?
Honestly, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's extremely hard. Sometimes, like, I will do things. I will cut cords. I will energetically disconnect. I will put up my boundaries. I will physically take care of myself, whether that's taking some sort of supplement or drinking water or going and grounding. But I'll be honest, sometimes it doesn't work. And the energy just has to slowly dissipate off of me, which is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
What, like, Rose, do you have any other good tips?
And
Like, in
you're
terms
saying
of
all the things that I do when somebody has, I always think of it as hooked into me. It's like they've got a hook into me and they're draining me. And with the work we do, sometimes we'll get clients that will do that. I don't think that it's conscious. I think it's subconsciously. But either way, the first thing I will do is I will sit in a chair and put a giant piece of selenite under my feet. And then I Reiki myself, sending all the energy through my being down into the selenite with the intention that the selenite is pulling any thing that I've, picked up. I cut cords, just like you said. I will take care of myself. Salt baths are really good for me for that as well. And then usually I'll do a meditation as well. So it's like all those self-care things, really. And usually if I do those things, I can cut it pretty easily. But yeah, then I'm pissed off that I had to go to all that work to cut an energetic tie that, really isn't okay for people to be doing to each other.
yeah.
I just heard of this great visual that I want to try. So when you're around someone whose their energy is just bigger than yours, or if they're not that great of an energy, what you can do is just visualize like a big tunnel through your center, going right through to the back. And it could be huge. And you just imagine their energy just going right through it. So it goes right out the back and it doesn't sink in, doesn't stay. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can do to set energetic boundaries other than setting physical boundaries or verbal boundaries with people. doing the energetic work, because everything that we do is energy. We're all exchanging energy all the time. Just like Ashley said, it's like a conversation. It's just an energetic conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, doing things like imagining that you are a bubble of white light, and maybe it's your shield protector. Imagine that white light is very dense. Maybe I always imagine like there's crystals around it. Like we got a crystal grid that happens. So it's like locked in, nothing can get through me, or nothing can get stuck on me. It bounces right off. So that could be one way, or a lot of the things that Rose and Ashley have already mentioned to help kind of cleanse that energy, because sometimes we're unconscious of it and we're not prepared. We shouldn't have to go through life constantly putting up boundaries and protecting ourselves. I want to be in touch with people. I want to be open with people. But you come to those places sometimes in life where you're like, okay, well, shoot, I got to cut some cords. I got to really strengthen my boundaries. I have to do a lot of extra self-care. And it really is just kind of the nature of life right now. But you have to have the awareness to start that you might be picking up emotions from other people. So that way you can do the work, the self-care, and the extra boundary protection to then let it go.
I want to say too that if you are struggling with boundaries, one of the best, it's a very short book, and you can listen to it. It's a great quick listen. One of the best books I think there is called The 4 Agreements by Don Ruiz. I can't remember, something like that. It is so short, but it's so helpful in understanding how to take action, how to maintain your energy. It's phenomenal, and it's such a quick read. So I highly recommend it if you're even wondering what boundaries are listening to this.
There are so many books on boundaries.
I would like a nice short, sweet one.
Yeah. Good. We'll link that in the show notes then.
Something you can do to help balance your energy as well, especially if you're someone who's very busy and you're going out in public like every single day and working with a lot of people, and so your energy is just kind of everywhere because you're just very active. One of the easiest check-ins you can do with yourself is either in the morning or at the end of the day, you can ask yourself, am I being kinder to others than I am to myself? And that's a really quick, snaps you back into the present. It's an easy yes or no, and you'll know right away. And then that's your tell, okay, I'm being very empathic today, and my boundaries aren't so good, or yeah, I'm doing a good job taking care of myself. And I think that will help to pace yourself, to take things in stride, and to be more mentally aware of where you're spending your energy and maybe where you need to receive energy more. Does that make sense?
100%. Much of my coaching was about teaching people to do just that, is to figure out where they're spending their energy and where they needed to take it back. And a lot of that came with setting boundaries, disconnecting from certain things, and divvying out normal everyday tasks that were draining their energy. And it's such an important human thing that we have to do. And especially, I think, as mothers and women in general, we tend to take on a lot of the caregiving on our shoulders. And so doing that, it has to be number one for our self-care. And I know we're in the age of self-care, and it's like, oh God, roll your eyes, more self-care stuff, but it's just the truth.
It is.
And also spending time by yourself, giving yourself alone time. I think for very, very, very long time, and my husband does it too, it's just not women. We don't give ourselves that alone time to disconnect from all the energies that we've picked up every day, from, taking care of our children, to going to work, to working with clients, or if you don't work with clients, being around your coworkers. or even being around technology. You need to give yourself time to disconnect and separate from everything so you can come back to what is yours and let go of what is not.
I mean, that's the only way you're going to be self-aware, is by taking that time
Yeah.
to be with yourself.
Yeah. And can I just say too, like, as an intuitive, you have to remember that you're taking care of all of these things because you can sense that they need taking care of. Just remember, not everybody can sense that. So sometimes it's remembering that if you don't say you need help, or you don't like delegate via your voice or via like asking for support, other people aren't sensing it, and they're not going to help you because they don't know it needs to be done. And so I hope that allows you to have forgiveness for people, because I really think most people are good and they're not trying to like burden other people. They just don't sense things the way that you do. So I hope that dissolves some resentment and can help people to start anew and to empower them to speak up. Other people do want to help. People that aren't as intuitive do want to help. They just don't either know it needs to be done, or they don't know to what degree it needs to be done. So speak, use your words.
Use your words.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We love these conversations. And if you do feel like you identify as an empath, if it's something new to you and you suddenly feel overwhelmed, or like you're carrying around a lot of things that are not yours, a very easy way to release some of this is through what we call emotion code. This is something that we do in person and distantly. I did write a blog post on sanctuaryreikicenter.com about it. And of course, we have other information about it on there as well. So if you do need some support or help or further guidance, know that we are always here for you. You are never alone, and we would be happy to work with you. So you can find us on sanctuaryreikicenter.com.
Well said. And don't forget to follow us at awakening_souls_podcast on Instagram. You can also email us at rourawakeningsouls@gmail.com. All right, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.